Diamond Car Audio has been in the game longer than most, and now the modern Diamond Audio is offering an incredible selection of every category you can think of for your car audio needs. Today, we've got Brian Piper in the studio with us, and we're going to break down all the latest gear in the car audio segment. This is CMA Networks brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Diamond Audio, and it starts now. Welcome, everybody, to another CMA Connected here on CMA Networks, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and we've got Diamond Audio on the menu today. This is a brand that goes back. So many of us remember these in the lanes and competition, especially their speakers. But man, the brand has absolutely evolved over the years to being such a complete line, and that means a complete partner for everything your store may need. Now, Brian, I know we've got a lot to cover, and in planning for the show, we actually had to streamline because there's so many different directions we can go. So why don't you give the listeners tuning in an idea of what categories we're going to be covering today?
Yeah, Ben, today we had to kind of really pick what we were going to talk about here because Diamond has such a huge line for car audio and its lineage just beams sound quality. So I think we really wanted to focus on speakers, amplifiers, some really cool subwoofer and enclosure capabilities, and then some accessories that we've released recently that are really nice. So I think we're going to have a great conversation about what Diamond Audio brings to the table as a complete solution for our dealers.
Well, Brian, this is going to be a complete one. So if you're tuning in, take notes because we're going to cover a ton of categories. But you're going to learn exactly why Diamond is the brand that you should partner with, especially if you're looking for that all-inclusive partner. But before that, an opportunity for our sponsor, SiriusXM, to remind you dealers out there why you love it. And when we get back, we dive deep into Diamond Audio.
Hey guys, Ricky Lima here from SiriusXM. I had a chance to speak to some dealers and ask them what they love about selling SiriusXM. Here's what they had to say.
Coast-to-coast coverage.
I love SiriusXM for commercial-free music.
It's a great add-on sale and a profit opportunity.
We love selling SiriusXM because you can listen to the same channel coast to coast.
Profitability and ease of installation. It's a no-brainer.
We love selling SiriusXM for its ease of installation, great profitability, and reliability.
People love it.
All right, guys, let's dive right in. Now, Brian, I think we owe it to the brand to start with, the lineage that is sound quality, that is the speakers. And even today, the modern Diamond Audio offering is quite extensive. Let's start talking about speakers. And I know there's a couple different series. So where do you want to begin?
So, Ben, I think the best place to start is the Diamond series or DMD series. This is the baseline for Diamond Audio. These aren't entry-level speakers or anything like that. It's just where we decided to start producing speakers at a quality level and a performance level that we were comfortable with. So as you can see in these pictures, you've got coax, convertibles, and full component system speakers here. They're all built with composite frames. They have a stamped composite cone, and then we use silk dome tweeters in all of the DMD speakers. The great thing about this series is you have things like a convertible component set where it can work as a separate component system, or it can work as a coax by swapping out that phase plug in the middle and putting a little bracket in there. The other thing that we have for this series is a 3-inch that you can add in to make a 2-way set, a 3-way set. And we do have a 2.5 in production for this series coming later this year. So the next series I want to talk about is our DES or Diamond Elite series. This is the step up from DMD, getting into the more sound quality, high performance kind of speakers that we're really known for over the years. As you can see here, again, we've got components, convertibles, coax, and the really cool thing with this crossover that we have for our components is it uses an 18 dB crossover, and we have a really cool feature on it called RAF, which is rear acoustic fill. So what this allows you to do is use one 2-channel amplifier that can drive your front components and then run rear coax speakers off that RAF outlet. And it attenuates the rear speakers to give you kind of that balanced rear output that most people are looking for. One thing I do want to mention on these is the convertible set that you see there in the middle. It is an aluminum cone versus the composite cone that the others are using. Just gives you a little bit more snap on that mid bass on those speakers. All the DES are using aluminum tweeters to give you a nice bright top end as well. And finally, I want to get into our Hex series speakers. This is getting into, high-end performance, what Diamond Audio is known for over more than 2 decades at this point was the Hex series. We have updated them, kind of brought them into, current specs and things like that to give them a little bit more than what they've been known for. As you can see here, these have the aluminum cone and a cast basket is with the first time you're going to see that with Diamond Audio. We use 25 millimeter tweeters in silk dome or aluminum dome. And then you get into this very high performance crossover if you choose to use these. Again, I'm a big fan of active when you're dealing with speakers like this, but the crossover network, we put a lot of thought into it for the guys that want to use a single channel to run a full component set on either side. These do have the RAF built in, as well as adjustable tweeter attenuation and phase adjustments inside the crossover network.
So, Brian, you've presented 3 different good, better, best level type speaker series that Diamond currently offers. Of course, we had to reach out to their Canadian distributor in Dix Performance and our man, Dave McLean. Now, Dave, we're going to ask you to kind of comment on every category that Brian's going to present today, starting with the speaker. So what's your wrap-up or thoughts on this really extensive selection from Diamond in the speaker category?
Hey, Ben, thanks for having us again. Obviously, we love talking about Diamond Audio and all their great offerings. Speakers are their bread and butter. It's really where we get the payoff in building systems. Everything from simple DMD speaker, great for a drop-in. Maybe you don't want to do a whole system. Maybe you just have blown speakers and you want to replace them. Great drop-in speaker. Big benefit is mid-bass. You don't lose that full rounded speaker that you're pulling out. And then a nice step up, DES series, obviously available in all the different convertibles formats and all the different sizes you're going to need in both series. But really an amplified speaker. Really system building 101 starts here. And then we move up to Hex. Hex is exceptionally well built. A big step up in quality, a big step up in sound performance with Diamond. Really what Diamond's known for in their quality aspect of their audio builds, and something that we use a lot in high-end builds. All their speakers are Klippel certified, right from the very entry level all the way to the top. So that really does tell you that they care about the audio you're receiving in these products.
All right, moving on to the next category. I mean, amplifiers from Diamond have also become stuff of legend as well. And again, you're going to find here multiple different options in a good, better, best scenario. Brian, please walk us through the different range of amplifiers that Diamond Audio currently offers.
Yeah, so amplifiers, really for Diamond, that's where everything started for us. If guys remember the old D7 amplifiers from way back in the day. So when we do amplifiers, we don't go into them just, here's something that'll work. We put a lot of work and thought process into what we produce. So again, let's start with the Diamond series, the DMDs. These are a baseline amplifier series that gives you great performance in a very small package. That right there that you're seeing is a 6-channel amplifier that's rated at 80 by 4 and 125 by 2. But having tested that, I know it does quite a bit more than that. It's something that Diamond's pretty well known for is underrating our products. And that amplifier is a fantastic performing piece. And it's a lot smaller than you would expect for a 6-channel amplifier. Some of the great features in DMD is we are using the latest IR chipsets, 4-layer boards, and all of our full range amplifiers are capable of 10 hertz to 20,000 hertz frequency response. So DES is kind of our middle of the road amplifier series, but by no means are they middle of the road performance. These are a classic looking amplifier. They have a great appearance. They perform well. In most cases, they're probably the best bang for the buck when you're looking at Diamond Audio amplifiers and you're trying to work on a budget. We have these in everything from a mono block all the way up to a 5-channel. They have the cool top mounted adjustments, so it's easy to make adjustments and do all the work on it once you've installed this in a vehicle. They just perform very well for us. These are full Class D amplifiers, and again, give you everything in a couple of different mono blocks all the way up to a 5-channel. And of course, now we have our Hex series amplifiers. These are the creme de la creme of Diamond Audio. These are gold performance amplifiers in a copper chassis. They do quite well. They use some of the best products that we could get into an amplifier and keep it in an affordable price range. Audiophile grade components, fine-tuned variable crossover and phase adjustments, top mount controls again. And the cool thing with these is all of the mounting is hidden as well. So when you want that really pretty, fancy, cool look on an amp rack, you put this in, you put all of our caps on, and they just look really, really nice on a board or in your car. Illuminated diamond logo on the top. They give you clip light protection. They give you the best of the best. That's really the way I have to word it. Again, these go from monoblocks in a 1600 watt monoblock all the way down to a 4-channel that does about 80 watts by 4, and then you have the 5-channel scene here.
You know, here at Dix Performance, we've seen a lot of benefit in full-size amplifier installs, especially with car audio builds. There's no need to go small all the time. Sometimes it's about that core car audio and making sure that the performance is there. And Diamond does it across the board. You know, whether we're dealing with the DMD line, the DES, or the Hex line, your audio performance is in Diamond's hands. And obviously, it all starts and ends with the amplifier performing well. And all of these are standout performers, right from the entry level right to the top end. Special feature benefits for all of them. You know, they're all aluminum chassis. They all take 4-gauge. They all have screw terminals. They all have the things that we need in the box to install them. When we get into the higher end amplifiers, they even come with ferrules in a lot of cases to help us get that install done right. You know, Diamond has spent a lot of time and effort building these amplifiers, and be proud to show them off because these are something special.
The next category we're going to cover, obviously, we got to talk about some bass, and bass means subwoofers. Now, in the subwoofer range, again, many different things to choose from, but I want to make sure, Brian, that we cover the categories that are really relevant right now. And I think the first one has to be in the shallow subwoofer category. And from there, I'll let you kind of walk us through other options.
Yeah, Ben, I think shallow subwoofers is the kind of focus point for a lot of people nowadays. They want to have that performance without taking up tons of space, or you're in a truck or a Jeep or like new Broncos and stuff like that, where space is a factor. So DMD has a great shallow series category for us. These things have a fiber weave paper cone and a half rolled surround that we put together. This is more for efficiency of the performance of the driver, so we can get a lot out of a little. Typically when you're dealing with a shallow mounted subwoofer, you don't get a lot out of some of them, and that was something we wanted to avoid. We wanted something that got you excited but also performed well, and I think we really hit the mark with that on these. They're available in 2 and 4 ohm options. They have a die cast frame and a 3-inch mounting depth. The great thing about the 10s is they need a 0.4 cubic foot sealed enclosure to perform really, really well. So next I want to talk about our Diamond series woofers, or DMD subwoofers. These are the standard mount. These aren't the shallow mount, but it's where the shallow was derived from. These come in a 10 and a 12-inch version. They are dual 2 or dual 4 ohm voice coil, stamped steel baskets. They use a reinforced composite cone, and we go back to that half rolled surround. This is a great bang for the buck. These fit in a lot of traditional enclosures, Chevy and different vehicles like that. It's just a drop in for like your pre-built enclosures. These use a cross flow design for venting of the voice coil to try to keep it as cool as possible. Don't have to worry about having that gap behind the driver for a pole piece. It does all the venting from the sides. This is kind of the performance and excitement in an affordable subwoofer. So the next evolution in subwoofers for us is the DES series. These are the best bang for the buck in diamond subwoofers. These use a stamped steel frame. They have a true fiber weave backed parabolic cone. They come in 8, 10, and 12, dual 2 and dual 4 ohm voice coil. Now, the really cool thing about these drivers is you don't have 2 posts on each side of the woofer. There's one pair of binding posts. And what we have done with these is we have basically a little plug that you unplug and flip it one way, you get your low impedance. You flip it the other way, you get the high impedance. So like on a dual 4 ohm, you would put this little plug in and it would be 2 ohms. And if you flip it over, it would be 8 ohms. So you don't have to worry about making sure that you're wired correctly for series or parallel on the driver. You just flip the switch and you're done. You put it in and you wire the subwoofers up from there. These also have a dual mirrored spider cone with woven tinsel leads, so you don't have to worry about those ripping off or anything like that. Again, this is by far our cream of the crop go-to subwoofer. We have subwoofers above this, but it's not where we like to focus for the everyday consumer.
Well, it doesn't really matter what your budget is with Diamond. There's an amp and a sub that goes for your application. Obviously, we talked about the shallows, we talked about DMD fitting vehicle-specific boxes, and we talked about the performance nature of DES. I think they've got a very well-rounded subwoofer category, and then that leads us into some more applications that are coming soon. Obviously, there's some things that Diamond does better than others, and one of them is making sure that the trickle-down effect from their high end goes to their low end. The woven spiders, the dual binding posts, everything is high quality through and through.
Now, obviously, with subwoofers, there has to be an offering when it comes to enclosures as well, because bass, of course, is the name of the game, and as many places as we can put it, the better it is to offer these solutions to customers. So what does Diamond Audio have when it comes to enclosure solutions?
So one of the things that we wanted to address with subwoofers is compact vehicles. So a lot of people don't have room to put big enclosures in their vehicles. So we went with something that fits under a seat or behind a seat, like these woofers that you can see here. These are active 10-inch woofers with 150 watts RMS. This one here has a hybrid passive radiator vented enclosure. They are very shallow. That one has about a 2.6 inch mounting depth. The other one that you can see right here is a passive radiator underneath. This one's a little bit narrow, a little bit narrow and a little bit shorter, but it's a taller at about 3 inches. The great thing with these is they fit under seats, they fit behind seats, anywhere that you just don't want to take up a ton of space. They are a die-cast aluminum casing with an aluminum spun enclosure. So these things have weight to them. They're not just some cheap little plastic thing that you're going to feel like you're not going to get anything out of. Balanced differential inputs for the amplifier input for high and low level. And again, just solid performers. So the next thing we want to talk about is our micro boxes. These are available in a single and dual vented 8-inch enclosure, as you can see here. So these use our DES 8-inch woofers. There's not a special woofer for these. It's just our standard DES 8-inch subwoofer. Comes in a pre-built vented enclosure. These are passive enclosures that will blow you away. Every single time I've talked to a dealer or a consumer that's ever used one of these, they're skeptical at first until they really get into this. These things really, really perform well. I could tell you I use one in my test bench setup over here, and I have to keep it gained down because it will actually shake every window in my house. These things are super compact. They fit behind the seat of like older Ford trucks. They fit underneath the seat of like a Chevy truck or a Jeep, and they work really, really well. I don't even know if I can tell you enough about these. 250 watts RMS on the single sub, 500 watts on the dual. They are 2 ohm voice coil, or 2 ohm resistance. So either one is going to be a 2 ohm load. So you're ready to go on just about any monoblock amplifier. And finally, the one I've been most excited to talk about in our subwoofers is the spare tire subs. As you can see in these pictures, these are solid cast aluminum non-resonant enclosures. We have them in passive and active. The active will give you 150 watts RMS. This takes high and low level in, easy to install. Then you have the passive that is a 350 watt RMS that you drive off of an external amplifier. Both of them are available in a shallow mount or the standard mount size, depending on what your vehicle needs. These have a 11-inch aluminum cone. They are very, very impressive when you put this in a vehicle. You invert the spare tire so that the back of it's facing up. This seat's down inside of it. We give you hardware that fits most vehicles with a little bit of modification sometimes. But when you get this in your vehicle and you don't want to lose any space, you don't want to put anything under the seat, you want something that's actually going to give you some bottom end and some excitement, these guys really do the job.
So as Brian was saying, great stealth subwoofer. Obviously, when the wife says no, Diamond says yes. This is a great hideaway woofer. Fits all major SUVs and sedans, your small hatchbacks. Substantially more power handling than anything the factory is offering in these kinds of applications. We're talking active at 150 watt RMS and passive at 300. Obviously, the passive is my better seller because people want the power handling. But if you've got a system and all you're doing is adding a woofer, the active is more than enough to make a substantial difference.
And last but not least, we got to remind dealers that when we say Diamond Audio is truly a complete line that can really be a great partner, we do mean it. And in fact, Diamond offers quite the extensive catalog when it comes to accessories as well. Brian, would you kindly walk us through a couple of the key accessories that dealers should pay attention to?
Absolutely, Ben. Let's talk about wiring and RCAs. This is a big category for a lot of people. It's always something that gets overlooked when you're looking at full line brands. So we recently released the HX series. This is a set of RCAs that start with 2-channel, go all the way up to 4-channel. We have them in 1 foot to 17 foot in the 2-channel, and then some varying lengths in 4 and 6-channel. The Y adapters are pretty unique because they come as a pair. You're not buying singles. And one of my favorite things about these RCAs is they're numbered. So when you look at a 6-channel RCA, you're not trying to remember which one to plug in where. You have numbers 1 through 6 on each of the tips as you're plugging them in, so you can remember where to correspond them as you're plugging them into amplifiers or DSP. They are a three pair tightly twisted bundles. You have a positive, a negative, and a drain. They have what we call body armor, which is basically an expandable nylon tubing over the PVC cable to help protect it from being damaged when you're installing it in a car. If it gets rubbed up against something, it doesn't cut. It protects that cabling as much as possible. Really, really nice copper ends with gold tips. These are solid noise canceling RCAs, directional with an indicator on there that's actually readable, unlike some of the other ones that I've seen in the market over the years. So really happy with the performance on these. The great thing about these RCAs is they are included in our HX series amp kits that we have available in 8 gauge, 4 gauge, and aught gauge. They come with the pure OFC cable. The fuse is already installed in line. It is jacketed with some of the expandable tubing for underhood protection. Comes with all of your accessories, everything you need to install an amp pretty easily. And lastly, one of the great things that we released recently are some very nice active line-out converters. We have them available in a 2-in, 2-out, 2-in, 4-out, and a 4-in, 4-out, as you can see here. So these things are absolutely beautiful looking pieces. They're compact. They come with a 40 volt input capability. They give you 9.5 volts of output. They have selectable load resistor capabilities built into the LOC, and the 4-channel comes with a remote knob for bass or master volume.
So as you can see, Brian kind of told us all about all the different accessories that Diamond has. You know, not only do they have speakers, amps, and subwoofers, they've got all the stuff we need to put them in too. And to that Diamond taste and flavor, you know, it's by Diamond for Diamond product. And I think it makes sense that you have a full suite of options when you're doing a Diamond line or any audio line in that matter. You know, their LOCs are top notch. Not everything needs a DSP. Sometimes it's just about connecting to the vehicle the right way to get great sound. And I think they've given us that there. You know, some outstanding things they've done, you know, big copper blocks, really fancy wire, great terminations, all copper, you know, mini A&L and A&L fuse holder. So you can use either, whatever's available to you. Diamond's given us some great things to work with, and we're happy to work with Diamond in this regard. You know, and as a whole, Diamond Audio, it's in the name, it encompasses everything audio. Whether it's LOCs, whether it's amp kits, whether it's RCAs, whether it's the terminals they use in their kits, they care, and they really want the audiophile to feel comfortable using their product, as well as the entry-level guy that's just starting out in car audio. So we're very proud to carry Diamond Audio, and look forward to a very bright future with all these great products they're offering.
All right, that was both Brian Piper from Diamond Audio as well as Dave McLean representing Dick's Performance North. Now, if you want more information on any of the products that were covered here on today's session, make sure you check out the official website found at diamondaudio.com. And of course, if you happen to be a Canadian dealer, then reach out to Dave and his team at Dick's Performance, for they are the exclusive Canadian distributor for all things Diamond Audio. Now, my closing thoughts on Diamond are simple. This is a brand that's been around from as long as I can remember. I remember really getting excited about the speakers. They had a really innovative style to them. And it's great to see that through all these years, they have continued pushing that envelope, staying relevant, and being consistent with coming out with products that consumers are looking for. I think today's session certainly demonstrated the wide range of variety that Diamond Audio would offer, but also the fact that it checks off so many different boxes in so many different categories. So, in summary, if you're looking for a brand that could literally help you, assist you, and offer your customers something for every situation, I think you should take a closer look at Diamond Audio. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.